Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today, I'm going to be talking about hybrid stringing, two types of strings on your racket. Why do it? How did I get started doing it? Why is it popular today? All right, so that's what I'm going to be covering today. Stay tuned. About 25 years ago, my buddy used a full bed of natural gut. Right? And he was like, man, it's killing me. You know, he strung his racket once a month because he played every day. And he's like, whoa, is there anything on the market that'll help me out? And Babolat had just come out with a hybrid string. It was natural gut and a string that was similar to Excel. It may have been Excel. I don't quite remember that. But they came out with half a set of this and half a set of this in one pack. So it was the economy way of getting gut feel, but lasting a little longer, and not having to pay so much every month, right? So I did that for my buddy for years, and I'm talking 25 years ago, and I believe that was the dawn of hybrids, except at least for me. That's what I knew as a hybrid. It was gut and synthetic. And my buddy used that, for a long, long time. He actually uses it today. So 25 years later, he actually is using still gut and synthetic. And geez, right? That's crazy. But since then, we've come a long way. The advent of polyesters, right? Luxolon came on board about maybe the same time and blended it. Somebody thought to blend it with gut, right? And this is probably one of the most popular hybrids today, right? This is the Fed setup. You have your Wilson natural gut on the main, and you have your polyester on the cross. Now, why do we do this besides for economical reasons? Well, Fed puts this on the main so you get the full benefit of the gut, the feel, the power, the spin, right? You get the zing, the durability, the slide of the polyester. So he chose rough to be on his cross so that this gut can glide on it a little more. So when he snaps that forehand, right, this actually glides off of the rough string. I know it's counterintuitive, but because it's rough, it's easier to glide than a smooth surface, right? I've told you about this in the past. When it's rough, the strings actually is easier to glide when it's new. So there's not much friction when it's constantly touching the string. When you flip this around though, when you put this on the main and this on the cross, you feel the harshness of it a little more. So this will feel a little stiffer, right? A little tighter. When you flip it around, it actually feels tighter because you feel the ALU rough. And this is along for the ride on the cross. So it doesn't soften it as much, but it definitely dampens it more. So if you had a full set of this, it's going to be pretty hard in the beginning, right? It's going to probably make a lot of noise and vibrate and resonate. By crossing it with gut, or anything on the cross that's not a polyester, you quiet it down. You basically soften the string bed a bit, and it doesn't resonate so much. So it doesn't allow the polyester to vibrate so much. But here's the thing though. If you have a full set of this, right, the whole string bed loses tension kind of at the same time. But if you have a full half set of this in a hybrid, this on the main and this on the cross, this will lose tension before this will. And I'm talking about including synthetic gut. So that's why you saw in the Fed racket that we tested that it warped a little bit, because the tension still held in this, whereas the tension lost a lot, if not all the tension, in the polys. So be careful how long you keep this in your racket for, because the poly will always lose tension faster than a synthetic or a natural gut string. Another hybrid that's also gut, RPM and VS gut, made by Babolat, is also another fan favorite. It's kind of the same concept as like a Champ's Choice, like what I just showed you, except that the RPM has edges instead of being a roughed up surface. So kind of the same concept. Great all around feel, great all around string. The gut softens up the poly. So like this and the Champ's Choice is kind of the ultimate in hybrids. So you should use it if you're looking for, you know, a plusher feel. I mean, I think there's no better poly hybrid, poly natural gut hybrid in the world than those two types of strings. You know, anything that you can blend gut with is, you know, just luxury. It's just gonna play well, especially if you put that gut on the main. For our standard people who don't use gut or are in an environment or climate that gut just doesn't work, some of my favorite hybrids are like the Confidential on the main, you know, my favorite string, and Triax, right? This is kind of like the climate controlled, climate safe gut blend. If you do this on the main and this on the cross, that's a great hybrid. Now, if you can flip it around and put this on the main and this on the cross, this is kind of like your poor man's Champ's Choice, right? It won't last long, but will definitely play well. One of the top hybrids that I do in the store is this on the main, Confidential again, and then TNT on the cross. I love TNT for crosses. Holds tension well, always plays well, and, you know, lasts a good amount of time. And it doesn't fray, so people don't get alarmed as to, oh man, it's good breaking soon. So one of my top hybrids. And recently, it's been like 5-6 years already, I've seen people go poly on hybrids. So I've seen people go, this is just an example, they go Torbite on the main and Hyper-G on the cross. So they want the stiffer string that holds tension a little better on the main, and they want to soften up that string and feel with Hyper-G, right? So a little firmer, a little softer. This will quiet this down a little bit and soften up that string bed so that this can snap over this. So when you go poly, you know, it's gonna be a little harsher, like I always say. But if you go hard poly, soft poly, then that softens up the whole thing and brings back a little bit more power for you. It's still gonna be noisy though. It's still gonna resonate, it's still gonna vibrate, but at least not as much as if you use a full bed of poly. So that's my explanation of hybrid stringing. If you haven't tried it, give it a shot. You know, start with a, you know, polyester main and a synthetic cross. If you're not a string breaker, try a synthetic main, you know, like a Triax. You know, Triax is a good new string that I know, or a TNT or some kind of good synthetic, and then put like a thin poly on the cross, like a Luxilon Ace. And then if you hit flat, that's like the ultimate hybrid, I think. And see how that goes. That would kind of ease your way into getting a poly hybrid by putting it on the cross, just to kind of get a feel of what you could get from your strings. And then when you're ready to graduate, flip that around put the poly on the main and then the synthetic on the cross. If you could do it, put the gut on the main. You'll love it, and you probably won't turn back, because that's the best you can get. All right? Let me know what kind of hybrids you use. Any suggestions out there? Let me know. Thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.